5 minutes. 5 minutes. Yeah, isn't that something?
And so what do the other cars go to? People just sitting there. I saw a few people speaking, and I think we were just going into the lodge. And there's something hanging out and trying to hear. Oh.
That's Roy. Well, you know, business comes first. Yet. Hey,
good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
How you doing? Good, thank you. Please coming on in.
All right, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll take it over. Awesome. I'm going to take this off. Thank you. Thank you. It's Julie. Thank you. Welcome. Good to see you. Yeah. And if you guys want to move closer, it's cool. Or if you want to stay, it's all right. If they wanted to move closer. So we'll just start off like introducing ourselves. Yeah, my name is Peter Brooks. I'm the instructor for this class. In this class, you are going to learn 10 different stress reduction techniques over the course of a day. And I'll go over more about the class as we go along. I'm a teaching artist. I'm also an executive director, a philanthropist, a prayer leader, if you will. I'm affiliated with the Chaptico Band of Piscataway Indians, as well as the Native American House Alliance in Philadelphia. And I sit on the Commission for Indian Affairs for the state of Maryland. And I'm called upon to give the Thanksgiving address, which I've gotten permission to give, thankfully. And yeah, I guess this all kind of started with that. And I'll tell you more about the class as we go along, but feel free to start, and introduce yourself. Go ahead. Sure.
My name is Annette. I don't know what else to say.
What brought you here? How did you find out about it?
The UU newsletter.
Awesome. Okay, good. Good.
And I'm Helen. Just so grateful to have you doing this for us. And after your summer solstice service, I just am feeling that we need more of you.
Oh, thank you.
I am Julie, and I was here at the summer solstice. That's where I got to be here with my office.
My name is Roy Davis, and I was here at summer solstice, and Julie brought me, and this is how come I came back here and information to put on that.
Thank you. And Roy is a veteran.
I'm a veteran.
That's going to come in important later, so hold on. Wait, I'm sorry.
I'm Jessica, and yeah, I was here when you led prayers, and so we're here.
Kathy?
I'm Kathy Bell. I'm a member of this church. I have attended 2 of Peter's services, and really happy to have you here for this one.
Wow, well, thank you. So the nature of the class is such that there is an agenda, which I probably didn't get out. As the class develops, I'll have it on a poster board so you can see all the things that we're going to cover today. It's also in the table of contents. We'll go through the teaching booklet. I didn't make accommodations for lunch or anything like that, so we're probably going to order from Panera in about an hour or so if you'd like to. I was so busy just getting the class together and things like that. And in terms of my qualifications, I have the MFA in Film TV Production from NYU, also studied out west and here back east with several tribal leaders. And part of the reason why I did the class, it was specifically designed for veterans, was because while the veterans were, or while the military people of my age were out there serving the country, I was on a quest to learn more about the nature of reality and spirituality and stuff. So I was going in a kind of a different direction. And I came from a very strong military family and was recruited and would have joined Marine Corps because I would have wanted to be, part of the best or the toughest, But I just couldn't kill anybody. I just couldn't do it. And so that made me different. And so when I went in that direction, I kind of had to go all the way. I spent my life with my father, who was a World War II veteran. As I said, a great warrior. He was at the Battle of Normandy. I saw how stress had affected him so much, especially being a person of color. He was in the Merchant Marines, so he was not only in a situation where he was fighting the Nazis in the water, but his own crew members on the very boat he was on with no place to go, in the middle of nowhere. So it was very, very difficult for him. And after the war, how these things manifested. And I just saw how my dad was different from most other men and people I knew because of the things that he had, the nightmares, the screaming, the temper, the patience and stuff like that. But there was nothing I could do to heal him. And so it was now, after he died, and I finally put all this stuff together, that I came to this class. Now, essentially, the class started when I learned the AIM song, which I'm about to teach you. Now, the AIM song is considered the American Indian Movement song, and it's considered a national anthem for Native Americans because it's sung amongst all the tribes. And so I was so excited when I finally learned how to sing that song. And I was in Baltimore, and I said to myself, I'm going to be the Johnny Appleseed of the AIM song. Francis Scott Key is from Baltimore, and that's the American national anthem, and I can take this Native American national anthem, and they can sing it before basketball games, and, anytime they sing the national anthem, you just add this song on. And I put the class up online and everything, and I got a call from the American Indian Movement, which I'm a member of, the Grand Governing Council. And they were like, listen, we understand your ambitions, but they said two really important things. They said, one, in our tradition, you don't teach until everything is taken care of for you. In other words, you don't teach a class if you're worried about your car insurance bill or your mortgage or the flood in your basement. Everything is taken care of for you. And you say that to the tribe. Oh, I can't teach because, and they take care of that so the class can proceed. So they said, that's one thing you should consider. The other they said is, you should sing this song to people who have earned the right to sing it. And who more? So I went back and said, earn the right. Who has earned the right? And I said, well, have veterans earned the right? I mean, they gave their lives for the land. And the Governing Council said, yes, veterans, of course, have earned the right to sing this song. It's a warrior song. So I thought, okay, great. I can write this grant. I can do the song for veterans. But then I thought, well, who would want to learn a national anthem? If I had a class, I'll teach you the Canadian national anthem. Who would show up for that? So I thought, wow, over my life, I have learned a lot of different things. And if I combine these things, if I take them away from their religious and spiritual elements and connotations, and just look at them as practices, as art forms, as performance art, they really are powerful tools for resilience. if you just take away all of the baggage. And that was the conclusion I came to. And then I started looking at it as a teaching artist, and I said, well, what skills do you need to have in order to sing the AIM song? And I feel like the challenge really is in maintaining your focus while you're in a trance type state. So that's going to be the primary emphasis of my pedagogy. You're going to learn to maintain your focus while you're in a trance-like state. And the graduation of it, the ultimate part, is the guided meditation where the music I played will come back in again. So I wanted to start the class and talk about the relationship between the US military and Native Americans, because this will be at the core and you'll see how this relates. Another thing I should tell you about my teaching is I'm really obsessed with scaffolding. How a teacher lays a foundation for the students to construct their own knowledge, but that foundation is secure. You know, they feel confident as they stand on the scaffold, way up high, because we're going to go up high today, you know what I mean? And I have to build the platform for you to feel comfortable as you take each step forward. So if you can make it through the entire day, you'll see how each little segment of the class leads to another part and into a bigger picture. You'll get a whole different perspective. But, you know, it's a long class. Like I said, you can come and go as you want. We'll finish things early. You'll have a chance to discuss, da-da-da. So, and if you do have to leave, it's no big deal because I'll be putting stuff online and all that. So you'll still, and the booklet is pretty comprehensive as well. Any questions or anything, comments at this point?
What did you say was the second thing?
Sure. Which was
That the leader.
the Grand Governing Council.
Yeah.
So first it was you should have everything taken care of ahead of time. Second was you should only teach this song to people who have earned the right. Earned the right. Yeah. So what I do when I teach the song to children is I ask them, you know, what have you done to help your family? What have you done that's honorable so I can teach you this song? You know, and so for those of you who are non-veterans, think about it. You got like an hour and a half to think about what you've done that's honorable, that gives you the right to learn this song. How have you served your community, served your people? And so if I'm convinced that you're an honorable person, I can teach you this song legitimately. Of course, you could do like me and just go on YouTube and repeat it enough times until you finally figure it out, but it's not like a teacher-student is more intimate relationship. So, and that's the idea from the class, is that, you know, what I'm looking at and why this is so important is an entirely new career trajectory for veterans, all right? Now, would it be a controversial statement if I were to say to you that the fundamental reason why the United States has a military is because of Native Americans? Is that a controversial statement? Think back to the beginning of the country, you know, way back when we just first formed the military. And I mean, this goes right to the question of gun control, doesn't it? Because guns were given to American citizens and not to European citizens because what?
They had to defend it.
Yeah, against Native Americans, exactly. That's why that was like the second thing they did. You gotta have a gun because it's a wilderness out there, right? You know, it's a wild country. So yeah, so that had something to do with it. Would the U.S., if the land was completely unoccupied, would the U.S. have needed a military? Perhaps to overthrow Britain, you know, but it would not have been as hardened as it was or as organized as it was. Because, and that's the first key to the relationship between Native Americans and the U.S. military, all right? In fact, the reason why I'm teaching this class is because right now, Native Americans and the U.S. military are under a mutual protection act. You know, an unwritten, unspoken treaty. By the end of the Indian Wars, despite Wounded Knee, despite Mankato, despite all of the other massacres, Little Big Horn and the battles and stuff, by the end of the Indian Wars, it was the military that was protecting the Indians from the settlers. And so to this day, the Native Americans continue to protect the military. And that's why I'm teaching this class, is a gesture to the military of gratitude. Because in the traditional way, after you were a warrior, you were a healer. And that's what I'm introducing to veterans, is it's the veterans, you showed up when we needed you to. And now that you've done that, we need you to be there. Be there for your community. Be there for your family. That's what this class is teaching you, how to be there, how to be, how to be the healer, the person that nurtures and the people are consoled by and things like that. Because here's the second key point between the U.S. military and Native Americans. To this day, even in the Ukraine, the European military strategy is consistent. Lay down as much force and as intense power as you can. Kill as many people as you can in one moment, in one specific place, to convince your opponent not to fight you, that you're stronger than them, or what have you. All right? That is the European military style. And when the British came here to defeat the colonists, they deployed that style. They put all their troops in a line. They put down the maximum amount of power. Then those troops would reload, and the next troops would put down the maximum amount of power. All right? And you were beating your enemy. You were progressing into their land. As opposed to this strategy. And again, what other military deploys this? You set up a small scout team that goes into the enemy and brings back information. From that, a customized solution is formulated for what is just a hit-and-run, temporary type military action. That's the U.S. military. That's how we're set up, isn't it? The Apache helicopters go out and scout, they recon, and they come back. That's not the European style, really, at all. The highest honor for an American Indian warrior is to go into your enemy's camp or civilization or city. Live as your enemy. Touch your enemy, emotionally or physically, and then come back home to your people to tell about it. That is greater than killing, Audie Murphy or someone like that who was a great American hero. To be able to do that, any person who could have gone to the Germans or the Russians, lived amongst them, and then decided to come back to us would be considered a great hero. Someone like Julian Assange, should he decide to come back to us in Native American culture, would be seen as a great. He knew everything bad about us, but he still came back. That's like, wow, we must be really good. So this is the kind of the second area, is the fact that these strategies come from Native Americans. This idea of leave no man behind, which is another fundamental aspect of the U.S. military. Most of the ancestors of the Europeans are from someplace else. There's no, when they came to America, no one was like, yeah, we got to make sure you die in Sweden. We got to make sure we get your remains back to Germany. No, that's a Native American tradition, completely. To this day, if you go to Britain or France, there's no Department of Veterans Affairs. When the Europeans came here and saw how the Native Americans treated their warriors, that's when that idea came about of taking care of your warriors and Veterans Affairs. Please come in. How are you? No problem. Just grab a thing. Yeah. And where are we? Chapter 1. Whoops. So I'm scaffolding you here in case you've noticed it. Any others that you can think of in terms of the relationship? how close this relationship is. Do you have any other examples of Native American relationship with the U.S. military?
I believe some huge military successes have even been one using the language of Native Americans.
The code talkers, exactly, yes, yes. And I believe that still to this day is very strong relationship, yes. And again, the Native Americans protecting the U.S. military. Any others? Like, what are the names of some of the tomahawk? Yeah. Tomahawk is a uniquely Native American weapon used as a distraction. See, I would throw the tomahawk, but Roy would be right there. So you would be looking at me, but Roy was right there. So that is a sort of a Native American tactic as well. That sort of deceptive, non-synchronous type of warfare, as opposed to the British where everyone fires, everyone stands, everyone fires. You know what I mean? So you're working in unison and in communication without really communicating. Try to use a sixth sense. So all these things come together in order to instruct, as I said, the military members of what they were fighting for. Even what you could say that even the things you're going to learn today, like the Gayatri Mantra and the Om Mani Padme Hum, they are the spoils of our military, really. They are the spoils of our victories. If we did not have such a strong military, we couldn't have such strong relationships with India. People from India would not necessarily feel comfortable coming here if this weren't a safe place. They come here because they think it's a safe place, because here they're going to find justice. You know what I mean? That's what most people come to America for. So again, these things are in a way gifts. What I'm about to teach you are gifts of our military, of our strength, of our unity, if you will, and our acceptance, our willingness to work together. So everybody got that? All right. So as I said, it's constructivist teaching, page 1, 10 recipes, free your mind from all distress and stuff like that. Now, we start with the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address. And I asked Helen to read it for us because in the tradition of the Piscataway people and most Eastern tribes, an event like this, or any event for that matter, would not begin until the oldest woman in the room said it was okay to start. The oldest woman in the area. There was that much deference given to women, but also to elders. And also, just so you don't have to hear my voice the whole time, but out of all the stress reduction techniques I'm going to teach to you today, to me, this one is the most powerful. It's kind of backed by science because the research shows that the number one antidote to stress, anxiety, depression, things like that is gratitude. Adopting an attitude or a position of gratitude. And nothing that we do does this as specifically as the Thanksgiving address. Now, the Thanksgiving address comes from the Haudenosaunee, which are called the Iroquois in English, Iroquois tribe. Their natural name is Haudenosaunee, people of the Longhouse. The tribe here in Maryland, the Piscataway, are the people from the place where the waters flow. Cherokees are people from the caves. Anishinaabe are people from the earth. Lakota is people from the earth. So that's what these names imply, these origins, where they come from. The Thanksgiving address would be used to start the day. Because the government at that time was the great law of peace, and it wasn't written down in a book or anything, you had to say it out loud so everyone knew what the laws were, what they were supposed to do and stuff. So this tells you what the laws are of the great law of peace, how you're to conduct yourself. And in that respect, I call this like an orientation to being a human being. And you'll see why as it goes along. Now, in it, there's constant emphasis on our minds being one. Now our minds are one. Now we are one people, is another way of saying that in a kind of a modern emphasis. So it is this idea that we're all connected, which is also very powerful in terms of as an antidote to depression and things like that. So it's a very powerful address. It's a relatively long address. It is the code of the great law of peace. It is an orientation into being a human being. The military, this is what you fought for, because this is the law of the land, the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address. So.
And when you hear the words, now our minds are one, say, ho.
Yeah.
Or if there's anything else that you strongly align yourself with, it's fine to shout out, ho. The people. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue.
Oh.
We have been given the duty to live in peace, in balance and harmony with each other and all living things.
Oh.
So now we bring our minds together as one, as we give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one.
No.
The Earth Mother. We are all thankful to our Mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk upon her.
Oh.
It gives us joy that she continues to care for us, as she has from the beginning of time.
Oh.
To our Mother we send greetings and thanks.
Oh.
Now our minds are one.
Yeah.
The waters. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength.
Oh.
Water is life.
Yeah.
We know its power in many forms. Waterfalls and rain, mists and streams, rivers and oceans.
Oh.
With one mind we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of water. The fish, we turn our minds to all the fish life in the water.
Oh.
They were instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food.
Oh.
We are grateful that we can still find pure water.
Oh.
So we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks.
Yeah.
Now our minds are one. The plants.
Oh.
Now we turn toward the vast fields of plant life. As
Yeah.
far as the eye can see, the plants grow.
Yeah.
Working many wonders. They sustain many lives.
Yeah.
With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life
Yeah.
for many generations. Now our minds are one.
Oh. It's like a pep rally for Mother Nature.
The food plant.
The food. Yeah.
With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants we harvest from the garden.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of time, the grains, vegetables, beans, and berries have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too.
Mm-hmm.
We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greeting of thanks. Now our minds are one. The medicine herbs. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal. We are happy there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. One mind we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We are honored by them when they give up their lives so we may use their bodies as food for our people. We see them near our homes and in the deep forests. We are glad they are still here. We hope that it will always be so. Now our minds are one. The trees. We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people in the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind we greet and thank the tree life. Now our minds are we put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Our minds are one. The four winds. We are all thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now our minds are one. The thunderers. Now we turn to the west, where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. We are thankful that they keep these evil things made by Oquasaries underground. We bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the thunderers. Now our minds are one. The sun. We now send greetings and thanks to our eldest brother, the sun. Each day without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. He is the source of all the fires. Thanks to our brother the sun. Now our minds. Grandmother Moon. We put our eyes together to give thanks to our oldest grandmother. She is the leader of woman all over. She governs the movement of the ocean tide. By her changing face, we measure time. And it is the moon who watches over the arrival of children. We send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. Now, stars. We give thanks to the stars who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness. Dew to the gardens. When we travel at night, they guide guide us home.
Yo!
With our minds gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to the stars. Now our minds, the enlightened teachers. We gather our minds to greet and thank the Enlightenment teachers who have come to help throughout the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. One time we send greetings and thanks to these caring teachers. Now our minds, the Creator. Now we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all the gifts. Everything we need to live a good life is here, on this earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one, and send our choicest words and greetings and thanks to the Creator. Closing words. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all the things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. Now our minds. It's wonderful that was allowed to be public.
It is, it's true, it's true.
What a gift.
And you see the feeling that you feel now. It's hard not to get drawn into the magnitude of such gratitude.
Yes.
What are some things that struck out to you? One of my favorites is the stars guide us home. You know, we take that for granted, but back in those days, that was a big deal.
Follow the drinking gourd.
Yeah, to find your way back home at night. Yeah. Interestingly enough, Native Americans would not involve themselves in military operations at night. Not at all. Even though that's sort of a trademark of the U.S. military. Now, once in fact, the combat was kind of a thing of like fatigue. Once the men figured that was enough, they kind of closed it in. You know what I mean? And usually it was the elders who were always like, "Yeah, that's enough." And the guys, "No, we're gonna." You know, so.
I read in a book about the custom of tribes that would get together when they had a conflict. They would come together to dance, and they would dance for days and days and days and days to try to resolve the conflict and find collaboration again.
Beautiful, really interesting. Yeah. The other thing to recognize, tribes, if they spoke the same language, there was no excuse for violence. It was always a mystery. Why are you fighting each other? You speak the same language. So it's very interesting too. And I think, you know, and looking at it in terms of relations, you know, if you're in a marriage and you say that first thing, it's hard to turn around and, you know, be negative with someone. You know what I mean? After all of that agreement that we're grateful for this and we're grateful for that, you've built so much momentum. You know, one of the sales techniques they always use is they get you to say yes to something very small. You know, like, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? Yes. And yes. And yes. And so they're building momentum. It's the same thing with this. You're constantly building this sense of momentum. The other thing I like about it is it's so very specific. Things we absolutely take for granted. You know, at the very beginning of the Thanksgiving address, they say, "The earth keeps our feet as we walk upon her." And of course, that's the beginning of life. That's when we touch the earth, you know what I mean? We're really considered human, right? I mean, we're not really we're part of the mother until, I mean, I don't want to get political. But anyway, the point being that when we do make that plunge, imagine what our lives would be like if the earth didn't support us. If your first step as a baby, it just went straight down, into the abyss. So those are things we take for granted that are really, really important to us. One of the things they don't give thanks for is obviously gravity, which I think is the most powerful. It's just personally, right? Not to do with the class or anything. But think about it. I mean, without gravity, we'd all be floating, So, yeah. You're going to... No, yeah, good. Thanks.
I'm also grateful for language.
Oh. Yeah.
And touch.
One thing that I think is so relevant in this day and age where we're sort of racing to Mars and beyond is when we thank the Creator, we say everything we need to live a good life is here on this Mother Earth.
Yeah, here on this Mother Earth, yeah. And it's powerful how those words from thousands of years ago are so relevant today. They ring so strong today. So yeah, that is a statement really for the ages. And so yeah, Helen is one of the key catalysts in this sort of revival of the Thanksgiving address. I think in about 20 years it'll be a lot more popular. People will be like, where did that come from? Helen Popenow. Well, because you fostered the environment, for it to flourish and stuff. And so I don't know how I came upon it at a Baltimore American Indian Center meeting. And there it was a Seneca. Some of you may have met Michael Nephew, who recited it. And when the Seneca do it, the actual Haudenosaunee, they've done it so many times, it's just like the Muslim prayer, I'm sure when Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and I'm sorry I don't have anything in there from Islam, but when he first said the prayer, people must have gone, wow, that's everything. Just like we are with the Thanksgiving address. Wow, that really... But to them, they just go straight through. Thankful for that, thankful for that, thankful for that, next. Okay, next. It's like they just got quiet, that's how the language goes. And no, it's almost machine-like. They just run through it, which means kind of great. Yeah, exactly. They try to get through this. Yeah, it's the same way. So I think that's interesting how, Creator can give people something so simple and easy, but yet we'll dismiss it as thus being unsophisticated or what have you. So very interesting. Good.
What I really like is that we talk about gratitude a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think gratitude, who am I grateful to? But here, specifically, the fishes, the animals, the plants, the medicinal plants, the trees. It's like, you picture those in your head, whereas gratitude as a
it's an obscene
thing, this really helps you get grounded.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And you can see how you could add to this. We're grateful for the leaves. When we look at the leaves, we see the very blood system that makes up our bodies, So we send a message of greetings and thanks to you could see how this could be modified according to your own, insight and experience and everything like that. I think it's very true. And everything that they do say thank you for, you like wondering and thinking about it in an Iroquois kind of way, just the idea that medicines are always waiting and ready to heal us. It implies that the medicines have a life of their own, and they're doing you a favor by healing you, which is so antithetical to Western, which is like they're just sitting there and they're useless until we make them something. So it's you can see how the two cultures were not really gonna fit along to each other that well. Plus, the Iroquois, this is going to be recited 6, 8, 12 times a day. That's really hard for people from Europe to sit through.
When my grandson graduated from Syracuse, the ceremony was opened with the prayer by a Mohawk
Mm-hmm.
in his language.
Awesome. Good. So yeah. So it's coming back. Yeah. And that's your first recipe. Feeling anxiety, seasonal affective disorder, sundowns, whatever, whip that thing out, take 10 minutes, reflect on all those things. It's a positive distraction. It helps you feel better. All right, next up. The singing bowls. Direct from Paul. You pass over. Thanks. Now, the only thing I have, which is unfortunate, is I have a shortage of paddles. I have this again. You can use a pen or anything that you have, but if you go ahead and open them, those are yours.
Okay, for the Maryland Arts.
So yeah, the Maryland's big gun. Did you get one?
No?
You get this.
You want to take the cushion out of the middle?
Yes.
Okay.
And the cushion should rest on your hand like so. See, it's just to keep you guys from falling asleep and make you open these things. Really easy to use, mobile, but very powerful. And again, something really small, like a bowl, like this. You can strike it. It makes this beautiful sound. Which, yeah, nice. And they've all got different sounds. The silica, yeah. Don't eat that.
So you rested on the cushion?
Yes, it should. To make it sing. Now, the way I do this with young people is as you get the bowl to sing, right? Notice your mind and the feeling that you have, the focus. Because this is the state of mind you want to have when you're doing your homework, when you're reading, when you're taking a test in class. You want to feel this same way. So in that way, it kind of helps them to study good. So, and it's struck like 4 times or 3 times before meditation begins. And by striking it as it's echoing, you can take your mallet along the outside. Until it starts to make that sound. Along the outside. No, you should be able to. Yeah. Do you get it? You feel it?
Having a hard time maintaining contact with the bowl.
Oh, yeah. It takes, I'll tell you what, place it in, and then, yeah, try it.
I enjoy feeling it in my hand.
Yeah, we'll get you there, We'll start you there, yeah. Have to do it rapidly, good.
It's coming. I just got it a little bit. Ooh. I hear it from somebody else's. Are you doing it? I did think
Maybe it's me.
I've done this before though, it's pretty powerful. It's also really powerful, the water in it, and you see the vibrations you can see in the water. It's like a wood piano like that. And then,
I can feel it starting to
Maybe it is starting to, you just need practicing. Yeah.
and it definitely has to be on the outside. I guess so, it doesn't work on the outside.
Here, take this one. Yeah, the number is too stiff.
Oh, I'm gonna try that, I love it. We had something about the wood to me. Oh, these aren't round. Thinking about somebody doing them round.
Speaking of professions for woods to get you and I some little chords.
Or you can try this thing. How are you guys? It's kind of faster.
You got it. There we go. There we go. Got it running. I'm afraid it's so far. Right. So go ahead, honey, and then push it out. She said, what is it made of?
I think it's copper.
It's copper?
Brass, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Brass.
And it's heavy like brass.
The mallets, what are the
Yeah.
mallets? Wood?
Yeah.
Cedar? No, on the other side is go around. And it'll start to sing.
Yeah. Chair.
Is it made of a specific wood?
Maybe I said.
Yeah. I don't have balance.
What part of that?
Yeah, it's hard. Oh, great. That's it. You're getting
There
there.
we go, right there.
It's easy. Yeah, you have to use the pillow.
How does the stick work? Does it work well?
with the kids, I usually have them do it at the beginning of class. Every day, so they come in and practice and practice and practice. Strike the way here.
What's the ask for? Okay.
It raises your vibration.
Actually,
It's a house of distraction. It's good if you're going to surgery or know someone who's not feeling well. It's very good for establishing and practicing your state of focus. When you get it, you'll see it. You'll feel a sense of focus.
And I like the way you say it's excellent for meltdowns.
Yes, meltdowns.
Oh, really?
Oh,
good.
that is good.
This one, did you want to try? Oh, this one's small. This is handy. It's like better than my singing voice.
Did you get it?
I did.
I like the, here, I like the small stick better, this feels uncomfortable in water.
Yeah. Where's the? See if you can get this one to sit. And maybe use the it's hard to be honest. Sounds good. You get it? You feel it?
More of these is there. There it is.
You feel it?
And Kathy stopped me.
Yeah. Was that you? Yeah, it's something, isn't it? Switch. Yeah.
I'm finding it very powerful, the vibration going into my hand. I've done this before. I've never experienced, and I've experienced the visual of having water in there and watching the vibrations as it
Oh,
sings.
wow.
And it just brings the visual element into the experience. And right now, it's the first time I'm experiencing, well, I was anxious this morning, and now I've just been hitting it and feeling the vibration, and that I'm totally
Centered.
so calm right now.
Yeah.
Grounded, and I'm so glad for this experience.
Oh, good, yeah.
And learning this as a tool instead of just something I would do to meditate.
And I think you can do China and stuff. Were you able to get it?
It's hard to focus or something.
Yeah. And then you can go around it.
I've tried to be bold with things.
They do something, by
We have like, we might give it wrap enough time.
and that's why you did this.
Yeah, but the process is just new. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. You get it?
I think so.
I think you did too, yeah.
It's very powerful. Is that what you do to get one fix it?
You have a friend who's in a coma.
I'm feeling it like all the way to my center.
Yeah,
That vibration is like,
Here,
it changed my physiology.
it literally does. I mean, the different notes are balanced along the chakra.
And
I read that in the thing, yeah. I've never,
thinking Judas.
I forgot to read it.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to have learned this.
Oh, well, that's just the beginning. You've only got 2 recipes. Did you try that one?
Yes,
You did? Okay.
You need to return mine. Thank you.
My ballot is somewhere.
In fact, all right, good.
Do you know where my ballot is?
Maybe
I
I can
don't.
arrange something.
Here.
I have mine.
Okay, I may have
It's a big sign.
I know that I
let's leave that one.
more than
Okay, thank you. Yes.
All right, I think we're on time.
Give us these two?
Yes, the goals, yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, they're really good for meltdowns, calming children, surgical situations, before anesthesia, coming up from anesthesia. It's, just the kind of a sound healing. The beauty of it is inside of 30 seconds, and especially as you practice it, you'll be able to just hit the reset button, you know what I mean? If you're dealing with an ex or a family member or something like that, that can help you get some distance. Yeah, if you're triggered. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. So the next one is throat singing. Now, this one, I want you guys to be aware of the COVID restrictions, you know what I mean, as you do this exercise, because I'm going to show you how it works, and you'll see why you may want to face away, everyone kind of disperse and face a different direction. For throat singing, what you'll want to do is, all right, so you know how you respond when you get another piece of bad news, right? On top of everything else that's happened, from way down in your gut, you'll give a feeling like, what is it now? Right? That's what I want you to focus on, that comes from the gut, from way deep within. Right? See, and that's a natural response to anxiety, frustration, okay? What you'll want to do with the throat singing is take that same emotion, and you want it to be like an expulsion, almost like not quite a vomit, but maybe a cough or a yawn. It's something where your body is like, get this out of here. Okay? Good, from down in the diaphragm, good. You'll want to just slow that a bit. Slow the exhalation of breath so that it's not a sudden but it's more of a Maybe do it in slow motion, okay? Yeah, good. You can start to restrain it. Good. And it's your own sound. It doesn't matter what it sounds like, if it's in pitch or key or whatever.
And you want the full expenditure of the air.
Yes.
And
Yes. There are no rules, just don't break any. No. And then just shape the sound into O. Good. Try Good. With the same feeling, we just pronounced the words that you're on page, which page is it? Om Mani Padme Hum. Okay? And we'll just be using a sort of guttural singing. Now, true Tibetan throat singing, and this is the challenge if you want to try this going forward, is to try to mimic the sound of the wind and the birds using your throat, because you're in the pasture all day, and they're all talking to each other and having a great conversation, and you're kind of by yourself. So this is your contribution to the conversation. But in this case, we're going to do the Buddhist Om Mani Padme Hum chant together. And I'll talk a little bit about what it means after, okay? So if you need the words, they're there, Mani Padme Hum, all right? And you can work with me, work with yourself as you see fit, all right? Om Mani Padme Hum. And then one more Om after. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. And then Om. Om Mani Padme Hum. Do you feel that? Again, vibrations coming from within. Good one if they're like cutting your knee open or something like that. You're on a long drive. Good one, like this is what I mean about referencing the military. You know, if you go down to the Marine barracks in Washington and watch their parade, you know, those Marines line up, there's about at least 100 of them, line up in a straight line and go to parade rest and stand there for an hour and a half, perfectly still. And so a chant like this, recycled in the mind, allows that time to pass. And you're distancing yourself from the pain in your knees and ankles and feet and stuff like that. So it's a good chant for stuff like that. If you're in the bush and you have to wait and you're nervous and you don't know where the enemy is and things like that, this chant can kind of calm you down to a certain extent, sort of unite you to all things. Also open up your senses for different sounds and sights and things like that you may experience. Om Mani Padme Hum. Now, who wants to tell me like what that is about, what that means? Do you have the book?
It's something about connectedness with each other and the source of all things, the great connectedness between us all.
It is a very connecting, yes. But what's the literal translation? Anyone have it in the book? I don't know what the page is.
Keep calm.
No, keep calm. No, well, that's from the book. Keep calm and carry on. Did I put the translation in there?
I don't see it in here.
See, dang, that's my bad. It's the jewel is in the lotus flower. Om Mani Padme Hum. The jewel is in the lotus. So the recitation and the reason why it's so powerful, and especially again for veterans, is the song, the chant is focused on the lotus flower. Now the lotus flower only grows in the swamps, in the like dirtiest, dankest water where nothing else would grow. And so what the chant is saying to you is, I am like the lotus. Everything around me can be shit, but I am still beautiful. All of this is not going to affect me, all right? And so that's what that chant is saying. All of these terrible things that are happening are not going to affect me. I am a beautiful flower, okay? And so that's what the chant means. And we can do it again, this time with feeling. but now
also the path, a representation of the path of enlightenment.
Yes.
Growing towards the light. And
Yes, because that is what the lotus is. Yeah, it's enlightenment. It's the way out of all of this. You know what I mean, if you will. So let's try it again. Now that you know what it means, and now you can reflect on the lotus and your life as a lotus blossom. Okay, ready? And Om Mani Padme Om, and then Om. Om Mani Padme Om. Om Mani Padme One more time. Om Mani Padme One more time. Y'all are good. Om Mani Padme Isn't that awesome? That you see how you feel right now? That's mindfulness. That's sort of one above feeling of bliss, you know, and it's different from others, but it's there, all right? So, and now you see also the power of doing it as a team, as a community. It's really good. And you can see how people could end up chanting that for 10 hours a day. It's like, wow, yeah. And especially if you configure it in something where like, hey, the earth is going to end if you don't, you know, so you're like, all right, I'll do this for all the suffering, you know, on earth. If you can give it a context, you know, that gives people meaning behind doing that. You know, by doing this, you're helping your ancestors, you're helping your loved ones, you're helping people who are suffering, you know, things like that. It can give people tremendous motivation to do it. Good. So, you guys, we can take a break. I think we're ahead of schedule. Throat singing, lotus meditation. Yes! All right. And we're getting ready for the aim song. Honoring song. All right, good. So, unless you want to have discussion, and you can also practice singing bowl if you want for the time being. You're right, I don't have translation here. Stop chant. All right. So, do you want to do you can do the Panera now if you want.
So
What time?
how
Do you want to?
I don't know how to do it like that, but I'm, you know, hoping someone could do it for me. Oh, great. There's a menu.
if you have cash, I would be happy to, or Venmo, I'd be happy to order what you want.
Okay, thank you. And I need your cash. Or maybe a check, we'll see if I have the right amount. All right, well, hooray for Just, well, their breakfast, and they have, sandwiches, which are toasted. Shall I, just choose mine and, tell Annette and then give this to someone else?
Downloading it.
Oh, okay. I believe they have a group ordering feature, but, anyway, I'm offering to order for anybody. Are you ordering? And you, are you ordering?
Thinking of it, I brought some piece of it, it's not much.
But I think it's amazing that you brought food to us. I'm just blown away.
Extra lunchbox peppers with hummus and little vegan sheets in it.
Yep. Wow, it's cold.
How do you warm up a drum?
Drum. Beat on it. Put it in the sun.
I've done this before too, it's very fun. Like journeying stuff.
The drum journeying?
Yeah. It's very.
Yeah, you're gonna.
I don't know anybody nearby who does it. I've done it off of retreats and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anybody or any avenue that you know of locally?
There are, yes. I have seen drumming groups and drum things. Yeah, we should stay in touch with each other.
Yeah, I would like that.
We have a drumming group here.
Yeah, yeah.
The meditative kind, where it's a certain frequency, and we'll probably be doing it later, right? Will we do a meditative drumming thing?
Kind of, yes.
Not the journey, but the.
We will do the journey.
Oh, we are.
Yes, we're gonna dance. Our meditation will be a dance, not so much drumming. We do drumming for this song, but.
Thank you for mentioning that, and I would like to try that with the
We do a lot of cool stuff here.
Sunday,
Yeah.
17th, coming up.
Wow.
Oh, there's a drumming school on 17th?
Yeah.
And it's before the service?
No,
After, really?
12.
I'll probably be there.
Okay, I'll take a roasted turkey and have a cup of tea.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. In fact, I might have to get one. Do you want the whole or the half thing?
Which cafe are you ordering from? Which cafe is it? What location is Germantown?
Probably Germantown?
Yes.
Is there Wi-Fi here?
Yes.
I think this will be a lot easier for me if I'm connected to Wi-Fi. Let's see.
Wi-Fi's not working here for me.
Mevo?
There's Gaithersburg Town or Germantown Living Boulevard.
Does it show you the distance?
Gaithersburg is 3 miles, Germantown is 3.7. So anybody volunteer to go or?
Oh, I can hook it here.
Have to be the cafe.
Right, because it's there right from. Does somebody want to go? I don't know.
I'll give you guys a break so you can go.
I wasn't going to buy some, but it's kind of like my especially now that I mentioned the local scripted turkey avocado BLT is my favorite. So sometimes they're all right.
And what about a time for pickup?
Sure. What do you want to eat?
It's 11:20, 11:18 now, you want to do 11:45 pickup?
Oh, do you know the password for Wi-Fi? I found the SDU Wi-Fi. That's Kathy Bell who was sitting in that
Yeah,
program.
I guess she went down to the house.
Yeah, that was 7, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you
Well,
have
that's
yeah, okay. I don't know about this.
You want just
Okay.
speaks to me.
I have a small one like this too, smaller, but I need a front set and then
That's all right. I got real estate challenge.
Okay, we're just gonna use the small tab.
On Eastern Shore.
Rapid pickup, please.
Careful in next week, whatever was going to remind me. It's my lunchbox. That it has to be in it. I love this. So, where is the menu?
Back there. And we're ordering from the Davidsburg Catholic.
Oh, good idea.
It's the closest. And I'm offering to go
I
pick
got
up.
just a few minutes.
If you- Or we could order for delivery. I think they do.
Yeah, then that's ours.
Just and for 11:45 is what we're ordering, the time we're ordering for. But all of us are flexible, so if you have any suggestion.
We'll start in 10 minutes. Boy, you gotta work harder when you get back. Yeah, catch up.
So where is that?
All right.
I have it.
Oh, okay.
Placed my order. Same processing my payment.
It's those little ones, yeah, they are.
But what else?
Little things.
Here we go. Avocado is out for the day.
Oh, all right. So, which one is that?
Do you want the sandwich minus the avocado or pick it
I guess I'll pick another sandwich.
If you want.
What are the prices? I don't see prices, I see
I
calories.
know, no prices.
That's very strange.
If you find something you like, I can.
Continue what it does.
They definitely do.
Oh, they don't, okay.
It's easier balance with that.
Yes.
I have chicken salad at home, I brought it,
Oh.
but I thought that would be a day lunch.
Bacon, tomato. I'm bacon turkey.
I'm usually grateful for a roof over my head, my food.
Yeah, we charge $7 for a half a sandwich and $9 for a whole sandwich.
Might as well get a whole.
Yeah.
Well,
And save some.
then I'll need turkey breakfast.
Okay, here's bacon turkey bravo.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's on that top. And what would you like as your side? Apple, baguette, or chips?
What was the middle one?
Baguette.
I guess the bacon. And I'll take the other.
Do you want a whole? And do you want to customize your sandwich in any way?
How far, I don't know how.
Well, I'll tell you what the ingredients are, and you can say whether you want to change them. Tomato raisin bread, bacon, turkey, Gouda, emerald greens, which is like rich greens, sliced tomato, and signature sauce. I like that. I love you don't want to edit anything so well, but like I'm afraid of right? And it's $9.
So it's not really good, but it's all. You should see I'm making.
You want to edit my order now. Sounds delicious.
out the pillow too.
And that sounds exactly like our goal, so we can try that here.
That is your goal.
Well, that's why.
Oh, that's
God, I'm so
Isn't
smart.
that wonderful? You knew the sound. Move out of the sun.
All the beautiful lakes and many.
Yeah, the first time of day.
It's wonderful.
Oh, I love that goal.
There we go.
And the next one is in Focus. Yeah, I've seen that. I belong to you. Yeah, and Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And there's Nettie Guan, and then after the COVID, then I look back on and we used to have some big
That's hers, but I guess I will not. Here's mine. Okay, I'm just gonna get that out there. Okay.
I wanted to get some broccoli cheddar.
Oh, so
It's the whole, like, twice as much as the custard.
Oh, the price. Here, for the bowl, it is $5.95.
For the bowl?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness, I got that.
And,
a cup, but.
And the cup is $4.95. Just like the half a sandwich, it's like $8 price. And it comes with a side, which is a baguette, an apple, or so it's
Now our culture's like experimentation with them, and it's something new and stuff. I didn't know. And it's like reconnecting us to like the cosmos in a way where like the trails around.
We're just we're not a race, you know what I mean? There's not a religion or anything.
Are
It's
you
just-
able
we're
to
just like,
hear
The pool,
Yeah.
close enough to your house, Julie, able to hear the happiness. Yes.
It's like, if I walk from here to the stairs, that's how close it is.
Oh, my goodness.
It's pretty amazing.
And what time does it close?
Today it closes at 5. Tomorrow and the next day it closes at 7. So I might take that up on the
Keep it
but there's never, the person, wanted to be sure to help somebody. So if I miss it today,
But it's tough though.
Yeah, I know.
This increases the quality of your life, just living next to it.
just driving in, it's so beautiful, and a crystal blue color,
Oh, yeah.
even when it's closed. So how was this your idea about him coming in today?
I guess so. We communicate a lot, so it just arose out of our thinking together.
Oh, I'm very grateful. Speaking of gratitude.
Thank you.
And then I was thinking of those tomatoes that Jessica brought. I'm grateful for the
That's
tomatoes.
wonderful.
Yes, yes. I mean, when he's talking about the plants that nourish us,
The food plants.
the food plants, he's the medicinal plants. I think everything we have that heals us started with plants.
Yeah. Yes. I wonder.
I don't know if I would want to say that prayer 10 times. Then it just becomes a
Single special occasions.
I felt
Just one.
Yeah.
Do you want, help
When you
me?
have it in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Splendid. And I thought there was a Hindu chant. Is there, my daughter-in-law's mother chants every morning. And so when we're sleeping at their house, there is yeah, here. Yeah. I bet this is what she chants. And it's so beautiful to hear, lying in bed. She's usually outdoors singing this.
Were you here for initial service on the week? Or were you?
No, I went to the African American church.
That's like you and Adam?
No, Matthias. And he's there. Tell about it this time. Sunday. I'm going to stay there. I'm a little here. I want to find out, first of all, if I've met Reverend Nelson, who's the pastor.
Julie Gibson, right?
I'm not sure which one it is. And also, I want to ask about their land. They call their Seneca. And I was told by my daughter-in-law, who lives real close, that the land was given to them after the Emancipation Proclamation during the days of the freedmen institutionalization, I guess one would call that, Reconstruction. And that little community has been there since the middle 1800s.
Never been
If
warmed up
my
like this.
daughter-in-law
Remember it had that like gutter and sound and
so I want
now
to check that out.
I know, it's like now she can't sing low anymore.
They really belong to that land. Oh,
it's like opera, like Kennedy Center style.
oh, look how slowly it's moving.
Maybe you can watch videos. All of these things are kind of an introduction.
The videos on it.
So like the best thing to do is just sit with it and get to know like a friend.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So, the speed at which you swish your wooden mallet around depends on the circumference of the bowl. If it's a small bowl, you do it faster.
Yeah, I think so. And the depth of it. And it's vibrational qualities, I think. If it has a higher pitch or higher vibrational quality, it will have. All right, guys.
Whose bowl is this?
All right.
Okay. So I do have one.
Well, temporary. I need it for class tomorrow.
Okay.
Teach tomorrow. And whose pillow was this? Was it yours?
It's not.
There's no pillow on this one.
And my bowl is also in my
There.
Oh, is that mine? And then my stick is also missing.
It's here.
I think I have the most popular stick in the
There
room.
you go.
Thank you.
Now, we don't have everybody.
Oh, it's all right.
Roy and Annette.
We'll do it. They'll pick it up. You'll see. All right. So if you have your sheet, turn it to page 9, I think it is, the AIM song, so you can follow along with me.
I don't see any number.
It's on the.
Right?
I have it. It's
All right.
right. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I like how they did the numbers actually.
That's pretty cool.
So a Native American drum beat is basically just a steady beat. Now, anytime you would ask any drummer, they'd say, it's the heartbeat of Mother Earth. That's what we're trying to catch, the heartbeat of Mother Earth. All right? course, if you don't have a drum, you can use your fingers, you can use your feet, you can use your head. It doesn't require having a drum necessarily. Now, this song, the AIM song, you're going to notice this with the song I'm going to play later, the honoring song, okay? The song begins with a cry, which is usually a single voice. I want you to imagine a person who's just had a vision coming into the tribe saying, "Hey, this is what I saw." All right, that's the cry. The response, there is a response to the cry where the chorus mirrors what the crier just said. All right, and that's the second line. All right, way he ye, way he ha yao hey yao. Then the chorus, which makes up of those three different lines, and the chorus is rephrasing but sort of organizing what the first two have said. This will make sense as I do the song, all right? And I'm going to do the song one time complete. Complete is going to be 4 push-ups, 4 cries. Each push-up is a cry, a response, and 2 choruses. Got that? Cry, response, 2 choruses. So it goes like this. Hey ya, way ha ya, hey ya, way ya, way ha ya, hey ya, way ya, way ha ya, hey ya, wah hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Wah hey ya hey ya hey ya, wah hey ya hey ya, well hey ya, way ya, way ha ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, wah hey ya hey ya, way the cry, hey ya, way ha ya hey ya, the response, way ya ya, way ya, the chorus, way he ya, way ya ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, wah hey ya hey ya hey ya, wah hey ya hey ya, way ya. Second chorus, way he ya, way ha ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, wah hey ya hey ya, way ya. Third cry, hey ya, way ya ya, way. Response, way ya ya, way ya. Chorus, way he ya, way ha ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya, way ya. Second chorus, way he ya, way ha ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, ha hey ya hey ya hey ya, wah hey ya hey ya, way well. Fourth cry. Hey, yeah, way, yeah, well. Respond. Way, yeah, well. Chorus. Way, yeah, way, high, yeah, hey, yeah. Wah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, well. Second chorus. Way, yeah, way, high, yeah, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, yeah. Well, hey, yeah, well. That's the eighth song. So, really good song when you have to be brave. Going into surgery, taking an exam, even a ceremony like a graduation or a funeral. If you have to speak before a large number of people, you might wake up in the morning and sing this song for bravery. Of course, you can always sing the song for someone else. As I said, this song binds you to warriors, dating back for thousands of years. It's a warriors honoring song that was given to the American Indian movement by the Northern Cheyenne tribe. That was the Northern Cheyenne tribe. So we're at the point where all of you who are not veterans need to tell me what you have done that is honorable, gives you the right to sing this song from this point on. Who wants to start? Helen.
Oh my.
Where do we begin? We can start with the longest.
I'm thinking of the racial equity seekers group that I belong to here.
That's it. You are a racial equity seeker. Yeah, that gives you the right.
It. You don't want me to name projects.
You can if you like. Go ahead.
We've become very supportive of two bills that were passed in our Maryland General Assembly concerning fair appraisals of homes, and also President Biden's new initiative, PAVE, same thing for appraisals and for legal support in fighting low appraisals. And we've gotten into writing petitions to banks that give out home loans and telling them that we know of the decades of profits that have been made from overcharging minorities, hiking up their loan percentages, whatever, when they got a loan, a mortgage. And we're sending these petitions to the CEOs and the presidents of the boards of all the Maryland banks that do business for real estate.
So you are a warrior helping the poor people, the people who are being taken advantage of. Oh, that gives you the right to sing this song, and you can sing this song for strength as you go and talk to those, write those letters and carry on. Kathy.
And of course, Kathy will be signing the petitions this Sunday.
I've had a panic disorder since 1969, and I've been fighting it for way more than half of my life.
Wow.
Every time I try to do something like getting on the metro, or I was say something good that I did. I volunteered for a couple of years with children at the Department of Health and Human Services in Germantown. When the parents come in, usually they have to bring the children because they may be looking for a job, and so they have to bring their children with them. And then they fill out all this paperwork, and the kids are just sitting there, just crazy with boredom. And so what we do, and I didn't start this program, but I think it's wonderful. We roll out a big cart. The top drawer is full of stuff for them to color, and we have a couple of big round tables, and so we put all the crayons and the coloring stuff on this table, and then we have puzzles, and the kids play with the puzzles, and then on the top of the cart, it's completely full of books. And we arrange them, try to arrange them according to age, and then we give every child a book. Now, when I started there, they told me I would be reading to children. Well, the children don't want to be read to, they want to play. They'll take a book home, and their parents are thrilled by it. So anyway, so I was doing that, and I was always nervous. But once I got started, and there was another volunteer there, I loved it, and I found out that I love 4-year-olds the most of any age group. So when COVID hit, my seniors group stopped on Wednesday, Black Rock stopped on Thursday, my volunteering with the kids stopped on Friday. It was like the world just went blank. And so I'm thinking about doing it again because they're opening it up, but now I feel like instead of all the progress I made since 1969, I've gone back about halfway, and everything that I do now is harder than it has been. So I'm not patting myself on the back, but I've gotten on the metro a couple of times. Just go one stop, walk across the platform, and come back. But so my life can be very tough.
She has the right to sing this song because she needs courage in order to fight the inquiseries that are within. Yeah. Yeah, that was from the yeah.
She's just let it flow off her tongue.
I know.
Maybe pause the question with them in.
I actually don't know the literal translation, but it's implied that it's the evil spirits or whatever. Yeah. That stand in the way of the ancestors' wishes or what have you. But yes, a song like this, and I hope this song really does help to give you courage, in going forward and stuff. And if nothing else, it's a positive distraction. It's something that takes your mind off of it. It's also an excellent song for funerals. It's an excellent song for graduation, when a baby is born, even if your kid's coming down the steps to go to school for the first time in a new year, if they hear this honor song, way hey ya ho, way yo, may give them courage. You don't have to do the whole song; you can just give them a dose of it, but it's impacted their life in some way. Jessica.
So, I raised my daughter as a steward of this earth, and been working to dismantle the white supremacist systems and the systems of, generational trauma that have been passed down, so that she can, along with her peers, lead our culture into the future.
Wow. She is already a great warrior. But may this song give you strength that you have done the right thing and that you've done a great thing by raising your daughter in this way. And you are a living example for all of us and an inspiration. Look around you as these women grow older. You are our future. You are the person we are depending on to carry these traditions into the next generation. Oh, so yes, you have the right to sing this song. And is it Elaine?
Elaine.
Yes.
it helped my community a lot. I served on the board, I rebuilt all our buildings, I got us a loan, saved us $300,000 a year, thankless job. And I've gotten on numerous times when things, slack way down and get all the repairs done and the contracts and everything. And I generally, I have a lot of time, so I read a lot. I know a lot about a lot of things about survival and life. So I help a lot of people whenever anybody comes across my path. Some people don't like it, but I do anyway. Like there's this one guy this week that started coming around. I knew him years ago. He rented a room for me. He has no insurance. He's turning 65. Very little Medicare. So I wrote all the different programs down for him, where to call, things like that. I just help people. With it's just a natural